So I've recently come to the realization that I have not done a Black Widow care guide yet, and that is what we're going to be doing today. The video will be broken down into three parts: housing, feeding slash watering, and lifespan and other general care. So to start off with housing, you're going to want a container like this, or even this. This is an old Parmesan cheese container, and this is an old fruit container. You're going to want to add about 1 to 2 inches of soil at the bottom. Sand, garden soil, topsoil, doesn't matter. Just don't use gravel or any other large pebbles. And then decorate it however you want. Add some rocks, some twigs. Make sure that they have something to build their nest on, which is why I have the little pieces of bark and twigs in there. Of course, this girl decided she was going to build her nest right up there on the ceiling instead. So, of course, she had to go out of her way to cause an issue for me. But you're also going to want to make sure that you have the ability to open the enclosure without destroying their web and without hurting yourself, which is why something like this is very good, because as you can see, there's a divot in the lid, so her nest is not harmed. Her web is not harmed when I open the lid, and there's no chance of her charging at me, which if they do charge at you, it's because they're scared, not because they're trying to bite you. Black widows are very peaceful, docile creatures, and they're very shy as well. They are much less likely to attack a human than they are to try and hide. And if they see something charging at them, they're going to run the other way. Slings, juveniles, small brown widows, and other forms of small black widows are suitable for smaller enclosures such as this cup and this cup, which houses another brown widow. An enclosure this size or above is not needed, but it can be pretty to look at. And it definitely does make the spiders feel more at home, so it can be beneficial. On a side note, please excuse my voice sounding very weird today. I have a really bad head cold, so if I sound all nasally and sick, it's because I am. I'm dying at the current moment. Now, on to step 2. Step 2 is going to be your feeding and watering. So, if I can find it, there it is. You're going to want to have a spray bottle like this, and just gently mist your enclosure once every 3 or 4 days, so about once or twice a week. This will give them enough water, and if you have substrate in their enclosure, you won't have to do it as much because that will retain humidity and keep the enclosure at a constant humidity level. Now, feeding is where it gets fun. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to a local reptile store. I don't recommend Petco or PetSmart simply because their feeders often have who knows what. It's Petco and PetSmart. So go to your local reptile store, get a cricket colony going, or like a mealworm or superworm colony. Superworms are not recommended as they're highly fatty, and they will do nothing but fatten up your spiders really quickly. Same thing goes for reptiles and other arachnids and even amphibians. Superworms are not highly recommended because of the fat content that they have. But if you have something like a dehydrated or starving spider that you just got hold of or haven't been able to care for a long time, if it's the second scenario, then you should have probably rehomed it beforehand. But regardless of the situation, using superworms as a feeder is a good way to heal them up and get them back into health. They are a little bit more pricey, but they're 100% worth it if you're going to save your pet's life. Now, for how to feed them, you're going to want to open your enclosure. I'm not going to open this one again, simply because I don't feel like it. I don't feel like taking the risk of handling a black widow today, especially when I'm already sick. But you're just going to take your tweezers, recommended tweezers. You can do it with your bare hands if you want, but that's not exactly smart if you're dealing with dangerous species, especially potentially lethal species for the young, elderly, and those with immunocompromised systems. A black widow bite will not typically kill a fully functioning and healthy adult adult male or female. Doesn't matter. It shouldn't, but there is always that risk. So you're not going to want to do anything that'll put you directly in harm's way. So what you're going to want to do is take your tweezers and drop it just like that right into the web. And you might want to shake it around a little bit to get it like fully entangled in the web. And the spider is going to, I have videos on it. You can check my channel. They're under the short section. There's videos, and you can see the spider will come up. They'll use their back two legs to web up the meal in order to get it, whatever the word is, contained. And then they'll go in, they'll bite it 2 or 3 times. And after about 5-10 minutes, once it is died or at least has lost the ability to move, then the spider will go in and start draining it of its fluids in order to eat it. So it's not exactly something for the squeamish, which is, again, another warning. If you have an easy to upset stomach, or you're like quite squeamish, then this might not be the pet for you. They're interesting little animals, but they're not for everyone. Especially if you have little children around, or animals that get into everything, or you're simply not able to stomach having a spider around. And that leads us directly into point 3, which is your general care and the facts about the spider. So, like I've already said, the spiders are not that dangerous to a adult with a healthy body. Just still try not to get bit. It could put you in the hospital. Unlikely to take your life, but there is still a risk, especially because these are one of the most dangerous spiders in the world. Not the most dangerous, but in the North Americas and all that, they're in at least the top 3, I believe, if not the number 1. I think there's black widows and brown recluse, and those are, I believe, the 2 most dangerous in the North Americas, at least the 2 most dangerous natives that are widespread. So housing, I've already gone over that. Same thing with feeding and watering. Make sure to feed them once every 1 to 2 weeks. And they should be good. These spiders are, they have a lifespan of about one year to a year and a couple months. So they shouldn't live more than a year. If they do, you got lucky. Or there's some weird mutation with the spider. Otherwise, they won't live for more than a year. They'll live for about a year, a little less on occasion. If you got them as a sling, which is a baby spider, then you will have them for about the whole year. For this girl right here, given her size, she probably has about 4 to 5 months left, maybe a little less. For a spider like this brown widow, which I got a month or 2 ago, As a sling, I'd say she has about 8 to 9 months left. Um, so that's basically that for lifespan. Um, some other general facts. I mean, as long as you don't let them bite you, don't handle them. They're not a really. I mean, you can handle them. I've done it before. It's not recommended. Um, you can. Please don't, for your own safety and for theirs. They're not super fragile, but if there's pressure put on them in any way, so let's say they crawl up into your jacket or your shirt, you will get a bite. Um, they don't bite unless provoked, and to them, being provoked is having pressure put onto them. So they're definitely not something you just want to be willy nilly handling. Uh, and if you do have to handle them, only for a short period of time. Uh, like I've had to handle them to transfer them to one enclosure to another, and even then, I'll try and do it with a cup, or I'll try and do it with something where I'm not going to get bit. And by cup, I mean a closed off cup like this. Like I have empty ones that I just keep around on hand. Um, so I would recommend getting something like that, even like the little sauce cups that you see at restaurants. Order some of those online. Um, and yeah, you should be good. Uh, they're easy to care for. Not very demanding. You can literally keep them in your closet and they'll do just fine. Uh, they're probably easier than tarantulas, even. Only thing I could think that's easier than them is something like maybe a daddy long leg or something like that, which is like ridiculously easy to care for. Just give them a couple fruit flies and every once in a while and they'll do fine. Um, so one more thing, you can always add isopods to their enclosure. Isopods and millipedes, they can cohabitate. Not saying they'll cohabitate well, but they can. Let me see if I can find any of them in here. There's got to be some in here somewhere. There's one. Right there. Two, actually. This enclosure is just a breed out for isopods. These are just your common roly-polies you find in your backyard. I don't have the money to afford your fancy ones. And then there is under... Scooch, please. Under this rock, I am breeding earwigs. It appears... Oh, they ate one of the millipedes. That's not good. It appears that the mother has abandoned the nest, or actually not abandoned the nest. After a few days, the mother will leave and the babies will be on their own. You can always feed these babies to your slings, and even I have a colony of stone centipedes that I feed them to. So there is always that option if you don't want to or can't afford to be constantly buying new crickets and mealworms and superworms. You can always breed your own stuff. I don't recommend crickets. You can do it. I've just never had any luck with it. Crickets are ridiculously hard to breed. They're just insane. They cannibalize each other at every step possible. So you got to have your egg cart methods and all of that. And I don't really work well with not natural setups. So I do things like earwigs and mealworms that won't cannibalize each other. So other than that, that's just your general care sheet for these spiders. I hope you found the video enjoyable and helpful. And please come back and join us in the next one. Hopefully next time I won't be super sick. Drop a like, comment, subscribe. Up to you. You can do it. You cannot do it. It helps the channel grow a lot. It would be really appreciated if you do. I know there's already a decent bit of videos that are higher quality on Black Widows, so if you've stuck around and watched through this entire video, thank you so much. You're real for that. It means a lot. And thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.